Hey, what's going on? My name is Brad Weinman, and what I'm going to do for you in this video is probably a little different than what you're used to. Because not only am I going to show you the simplest and fastest way I know of to go from 0 to 6 figures working from home using the internet, but I'm also going to share some, let's just say, dirty little secrets that others in the home business industry don't want you to know. And by the time you finish watching this video, you're going to know exactly why that is. But before we dive in, let me just tell you up front that I hope you're the type of person who appreciates blunt, no-nonsense truth when it comes to making money from home. And I say that because not everyone's interested in hearing the truth. I mean, some people prefer hype and fantasy instead of reality. But if you want a simple and predictable way to earn an extra $3, $5, or $10,000 a month or more that'll give you the time freedom to be with your family and start living a life a little bit more on your terms, then keep watching, because I'm going to show you how to do that on a very part-time basis, even if you're brand new or if you failed in other opportunities like I have. But before we get to that, let me just tell you a little bit about myself in case we've never met, and more importantly, why you should even listen to anything I have to say. So again, my name is Brad Weinman. I live in Los Angeles with my wife Kiara, and we both love to travel. So what you're looking at are some pictures of us having fun on vacation and just enjoying life. Because at the end of the day, it's all about living a life on your terms and having true freedom. Now, I don't have any yachts or live in a 10,000 square foot mansion, but by the same token, I haven't worked for a boss or cashed a paycheck from a job in over 23 years. And speaking of not having a job, it's about 10 a.m. in the morning here, and while most people are at work hunkered down in their cubicles, I'm sitting here in shorts and flip-flops sipping on my coffee while I record this video. Anyways, I've been working from home full-time for the past 2 decades and live a very comfortable lifestyle, but the truth is, life hasn't always been that good for me. After I graduated from college, I launched my career as a freelance artist, where I mostly painted book covers for some of the largest publishers in the nation. And things were great at first, but after 5 years of being hunched over a drafting table for 12 hours a day to meet client deadlines, I was pretty disillusioned and burned out to the point where I felt like a prisoner of my own creation. It was bad enough that I was 45 grand in debt and paying a fortune in interest fees, but on top of that, I usually had to wait 30 to 60 days just to get paid by my clients, which totally wreaked havoc with my monthly cash flow. It seemed like it was either feast or famine. One month I'd be pinching pennies, and the next month I'd have all these checks coming in. And long story short, the stress from being on that financial roller coaster ride for 5 years really took its toll on me, and quite frankly, I just felt like a pile of crap because I wasn't making the kind of money I knew I could. And I came to the realization that I didn't have any leverage. See, even though I owned my own business, my business really owned me because I was still on the hamster wheel trading hours for dollars. And so I knew something had to change. I needed to find a way to gain leverage in my business life and my personal life, but after being self-employed for 5 years as a professional artist, that's all I knew how to do. I really didn't have any other skills. And what happened was, around that same time, a good friend of mine introduced me to network marketing, which eventually led me to internet marketing. And since then, I've gone on to build a total of 7, 6, and multiple 6-figure businesses online. But the biggest thing I'm proud of is the countless success stories I've helped create. Over the years, I've had the privilege of helping a lot of people go from struggling to creating full-time incomes online. I've taught thousands of regular people with no prior online marketing experience how to build their businesses using a simple formula that took me from being a frustrated and underpaid artist to eventually earning upwards of over $500,000 a year online in my home-based business. Let me just show you some of the results I've been able to achieve in my business so you know I'm not just blowing smoke or making this stuff up. So here are a few bank statements showing deposits into my Wells Fargo business checking account. As you can see, the name of my company is Synergy Global Ventures. And while we're at it, let me just throw out a quick disclaimer that my results aren't typical. I'm also not promising or guaranteeing that you're going to get the same results. I just wanted to show you some proof, not to brag, but to verify that I do know a thing or two about making money from home, and I do walk my talk. But aside from showing you what's possible if you know what you're doing, here's the most important thing I want you to know, and that is none of my success is because I'm someone special. It's actually quite the opposite. When I first got started in network marketing, which was my first introduction to the home business industry, I did everything I was told to do, which back then was make out a list of your warm market and then pitch your friends and family and do the weekly dog and pony show with the home parties and the rah-rah hotel meetings. And it wasn't very long before I ran out of people to talk to. So I started putting flyers on cars and putting signs on telephone poles. Yep, pretty pathetic. And when that didn't work, I got the bright idea to start buying BizOps seeker leads, and then I spent almost every waking hour cold calling strangers and getting hung up on and cussed out. It was frickin' brutal. And I quickly realized that I wasn't mentally and emotionally equipped for this type of business from the get-go. I had a ton of stumbling blocks to overcome, having to do with some early childhood experiences I went through. As a young kid, I used to have a speech impediment that my mom would take me to see a speech therapist for. And that made me feel awkward and self-conscious to the point where my grade school teachers thought something was wrong with me because I didn't say much. I was very shy and introverted growing up, and even today I'm still a pretty quiet person. I mean, in social situations, I'm not the life of the party, and I'll be the first one to admit that. I'm perfectly fine being by myself and doing things that I like to do for fun without having to be around a crowd of people all the time. Thankfully, I've got a wife who appreciates all of my introverted quirkiness, and it certainly served me well when I was a freelance artist because I hardly had to talk to anyone. But in a people business like network marketing, things were incredibly difficult for me at first, and I was forced to have to step way outside my comfort zone. So I just want you to know that even though it may seem like what I'm sharing is really easy for me, the fact of the matter is I wasn't born with a gift of gab to make this business work. Far from it. I was full of doubts and anxiety and struggled for a long time. But because I was desperate for change, I was able to somehow press on. And you know what? I'm glad I went through those struggles because it helped me build the character and who I needed to be in order to handle success when it showed up. Now, I don't know about you, but I know for myself that when I take what I learned from someone who's gotten the results that I want and who can help me shrink my learning curve really fast, magical things start to happen. And once I got my hands on some good training that taught me how to generate my own leads and get people coming to me on a silver platter wanting to join my business even before they talk to me, that's when things really started to turn around for me. But again, I'm just an average guy who had to overcome a lot of things before I finally figured things out and started having consistent 5-figure months in my business. Anyways, I've pretty much seen and done it all over the last 16 years online. Affiliate marketing, network marketing, direct sales, revenue sharing programs, you name it, I've probably tried it. But there's only one business model that has the ability to put big upfront cash in your pocket right out of the gate. And I'm referring to big ticket affiliate programs, which are programs that generally cost anywhere from about $400 or $500 all the way up to $20,000 to get started. Big ticket programs solve the number one problem that a lot of people have, and that is they put money in your pocket when it's needed most, which is right now. And that's why I call it now cash, not 3 to 5 years from now like a typical MLM program offers. With most MLMs, it can take you a really long time to get to the money. You might hear the success stories of people that did it overnight, but I'm here to tell you from first-hand experience that that's just pure random luck. But there's another even more sobering insider truth that I want to share with you. And this is one of the dirty little secrets I alluded to earlier that you're not being told, which has to do with something that's become almost like a cancer in this industry. Because what happens when somebody goes out and builds an MLM organization is that at some point their organization starts to fall apart, either because they really don't know how to hold it together, or because the company does something stupid or goes out of business, or because they say, well, I don't like this product anymore, and they start promoting something else, and they raid their organization and others, and then jump into a new thing with their whole team. And so these people are constantly jumping around looking for the next hot thing, and they're always blaming different aspects of the companies and opportunities for the reasons why this is happening. But the real reason it's happening so much lately is because there's a fundamental problem in this industry that nobody's really admitting, which is that leaders with big organizations really don't make the money that everybody thinks they make. They do for a little while, but then the income goes down and then they're back to a lower level of income. I've seen it happen in every single MLM company I've been involved with, and there's a specific reason why that happens. And some people might not want to admit it, but the truth of why it happens is because the compensation plan and the products people are selling in the network marketing industry require literally tens of thousands of people in your downline to make any real money. That's just the truth. So here's what happens in a typical MLM business. People get started in a business, they start talking to people about it and go out there and make like $1,000 or $2,000 from fast start bonuses. But if they want to maintain that $1,000 or $2,000 income, they need 100 people, 500 people, or 1,000 people. And that's just the reality of what happens. And they never get that many people, so they get their fast start bonuses, and then their income goes almost to nothing, and they're constantly having to replace this gigantic churn of people quitting because nobody's making any money. So when a program's really hot and the money's flying and new people are getting cars and bonuses, what happens is all these people are coming into the organization, but the second that growth pattern stops and momentum slows down, all of those checks start dropping way down. And then a leader looks for another hot thing they can jump into and take their whole team with them. And this cycle repeats itself over and over again. It's kind of like a game of musical chairs. When the music stops, everyone scrambles to find a seat in the next brand new pre-launch, robbing Peter to pay Paul and destroying their last business in the process. Now, some people may be fortunate enough to get ahead of the income curve for a little while if they have the money, time, and energy. But it's only a matter of time before they'll have to move again. And it doesn't matter what MLM you join, you're going to eventually face these same challenges in all of them. When I came to that realization, I decided to make the shift from building a traditional MLM business to building a big ticket business instead, and that's when my income really took off. I went from making around $4,200 a month to over $80,000 a month within the span of about a year. I mean, it happened that quickly. And the only thing that changed was the business model. So now that you know a little bit about my background, let's talk about the advantages of big ticket programs. So first of all, the effort required to make a $1,000 sale isn't any greater than the effort to make a $25 sale. And I'm not talking about you having to do any personal selling. That's what an automated system is for. But from my own experience, it's actually just as easy, if not easier, to sell big ticket products than low ticket ones. The other thing is you need a lot of low ticket commissions to make $8,333 a month, which is the number you need to shoot for every single month if you want to hit that six-figure income goal. So if you're promoting stuff that's, say, $20 to $50, or at best $100, you're going to have to sell a ton of products in order to hit that figure every month. And this is one of the reasons it took me so long to get over the hump and finally have my first $100,000 year back in 2001. I mean, some months I would do really well, and then other months I'd fall really short because my overall sales volume would fluctuate and go down. But here's something important to keep in mind when it comes to low-ticket programs. Only about 1 out of every 1,000 people in network marketing are able to actually recruit a small army in a very short amount of time. And 9 times out of 10, anytime you see someone shoot up to the top of the leaderboards in a program, it's usually because they brought over a downline that they previously built in another business. In some cases, they've invested decades to get to the point where they can quickly max out a comp plan. Most people don't have the ability or experience to do that. I found it was really tough to make a six-figure income strictly by promoting low-ticket programs compared to big-ticket programs where you only need a few customers a month to make a full-time income. Now, the next advantage I want to cover is the ability to scale much faster, because the one thing that allows you to grow your business really comes down to making money and then reinvesting at least 15 to 20% of that money back into buying more advertising and traffic to your website. So if you're promoting low-ticket products and you're not making much money from each sale, your ability to scale up and reinvest back into your business is going to be really limited. So the advice I give my students is to focus on making good commissions with big ticket products and then turn around and then dump a good percentage of those profits back into traffic and then keep exponentially growing your cash flow from there. Okay, next on the list, I want to tell you about the type of things you want to look for in a big ticket program that'll help you position yourself for maximum profits. So the first criteria is it's got to have mass appeal. In other words, you want to promote a product or a service that has a really wide audience. So if you're promoting, let's say, nutritional products, for example, and I'm not trying to knock you if that's the type of program you're in, you're primarily attracting people who are interested in staying fit and want to enjoy better health, and that's a decent-sized market. But the downside is you're dealing with physical products that have an ongoing cost to produce, which obviously cuts into your profit margin in a major way. And that brings me to another key thing to look for, which has to do with commission percentages. And this one's super important because it can literally mean the difference between making just a few $1,000s a month compared to making $20,000 a month for the same exact effort. For example, most MLMs pay an average of about 10% in commissions for any sales that you personally refer. Yet most big ticket programs generally pay out at least 40 to 50% commissions on the front end. And getting back to the whole mass appeal topic, I tend to stick with promoting information products in the make money online niche because not only do you have higher profit margins, since most information products are 100% digital, but everybody wants to make more money. Everybody wants to improve their lifestyle and increase the amount of money they bring in every month so they can live a better life. Again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with building a traditional MLM that sells pills, powders, potions, or lotions. In fact, one of the first opportunities I ever joined was a nutritional MLM business that I was able to grow to 6 figures a year. But the major problem I ran into with building MLM businesses, and I didn't realize this until like years later, is the fact that you don't know what kind of long-term plans people in your downline have, and you certainly don't know what they're going to do next. Yet your commission checks are almost 100% dependent on them making a bunch of sales in order to push you up the commission ladder. Which is why, knowing what I know now, I'd rather get paid a larger commission up front than a bunch of potential smaller commissions over months or years that may or may not ever pan out. Okay, next up, if you want to build a business that's going to allow you to make a lot of money on a part-time basis, then you've got to have a high-converting, highly automated system in place that does all the telling, selling, and convincing for you. Every single top producer online uses some form of marketing system to free up their personal time to create automated cash flow. It's how you break the connection between time and money. You set it up once, and then it essentially keeps printing money for you as long as you continue driving fresh traffic to the system. And by the way, even though driving traffic to a website is a major stumbling block for most people, it's actually one of the easiest things to do when you have access to the right tools, which I'll tell you about more in a minute. And then finally, when you're looking at any big ticket program, you want to make sure that ongoing training and support is available to anybody who joins the business. Unfortunately, in the home business industry, there's a lot of orphans and blind leading the blind folks out there, and I'm sure many of them have good intentions, but only experienced leadership can drive success and foster team building and duplication. So you want to look for strong, value-driven leadership from not only leaders in the field, but at the corporate level as well. But the point I really want to drive home here is that the real money is in big ticket, not low ticket. I don't know about you, but I don't have time to waste on crappy programs that fizzle out every 90 days, which is why I don't waste time promoting silly $27 fly-by-night programs you see out there with cheesy actors promising easy push-button riches. Because really, all that's doing is selling you a bunch of crap that's not going to get you results, and is not going to be a business that you can count on for years to come. So if you're the type of person that wants to get results and wants to create a real business, and by real business I mean at least $100,000 a year, then stick with me and I'll cover some of the advantages my business has to offer. This is about building a business and having a life at the same time, because at the end of the day, I don't want you to work your life away. There's some very strategic formulas that you need to employ if you want to grow your income quickly and be time savvy so that you own your time. If you're in a situation where you're still trying to survive, I want to get you off the hamster wheel and out of survival mode. And if you're out of survival mode now, then I want to show you how to kick things up a notch. What I'm finding these days is that people want more of a business in a box, a done-for-you system. And I know I briefly touched on this before, but the second biggest obstacle people seem to struggle with has to do with generating traffic and leads. Leads are the lifeblood of any business, and what's sad is that you have gurus out there overpromising, overcharging, and brainwashing people into believing that generating traffic is hard and complicated. They make you feel like you're always missing something, and that the only way you can finally unlock their secrets is by spending hundreds or even thousands of dollars to buy their latest, greatest marketing course. It's the kind of stuff that keeps people broke and disillusioned, and it's why I stopped chasing guru secrets a long time ago and only focus on using super simple strategies that produce consistent results. And just to be clear, there's nothing wrong with buying information products or buying systems and courses. Nothing wrong with that at all. However, at some point, you have to realize that if all the stuff you're buying isn't adding to your bottom line in terms of money in the bank, then all it's doing is costing you time and money. The big takeaway here is this. If you like the idea of learning how to do online marketing and lead generation, then we have plenty of cutting-edge training you can plug into. Now that option requires more of an active involvement, but if you want to jumpstart your business instantly, we have a second option that's available as soon as you sign up, which is more of a done-for-you approach. And what that means is you don't have to know anything about online marketing to start generating leads. With this option, all you do is choose from one or more of our done-for-you traffic sources, and you're off to the races. You'll also get access to my list of favorite done-for-you vendors as well. So you can literally come into this business today, buy traffic, and have hundreds or even thousands of targeted visitors sent to your website in as little as 24 hours from now. And then after that, our automated system takes over from there, and you've got value-driven autoresponder messages going out on a regular basis, building a relationship with your prospects and inviting them back to your website. Remember, all this stuff is happening in the background on autopilot while you're at work or out with the kids or at the movies or while you're doing whatever it is that you want to do with your time, just like I'm doing with this video. I mean, there could be 100 or more people going to your website, entering your marketing funnel, watching the presentations, getting the information, and buying the products. Meanwhile, you're just checking your emails throughout the day and seeing that you made more sales. You didn't do anything special to make that money. You just simply advertised your website and let the system do all the heavy lifting for you. So now that we've gotten all the basics out of the way, I want to quickly go over some of the advantages of joining with me in my business of choice. Because another thing people suffer with when trying to start an online business is information overload. Most people end up joining program after program thinking the next thing is going to be the answer and jump from one business opportunity to the next. And they follow too many people and end up on too many people's email lists, which leads to a lot of confusion and frustration and eventually them wanting to quit. But the key to getting fast results is to find a mentor who can show you the right things to do and how to avoid all the common pitfalls. So I put ongoing support and mentoring at the top of the list here because if you've been in this industry even for just a little bit, then you've probably seen some crazy promises. And you've also probably seen people say they're going to help you, but as soon as they get your money, they pull a Houdini and go into the witness protection program, never to be heard from again. Well, those kinds of shenanigans aren't going to happen when you join my team. I'm not going to leave you hanging, and my team's not going to leave you hanging. Anytime you need help, we'll be here for you. But don't take it from me. Here's what a few of my students have to say.
Hey everybody, my name is Brian Magnosi. I want to share a little bit of my experience about working directly with Brad Weinman. Brad has been an amazing mentor and resource and brought so much value to me personally in my life and my business. Great example of that is I hooked up with Brad on a program he offered about 7 weeks ago, and I made $7,000 for my first 30 days of the program. Amazing. It's just amazing. And I've never made that much money so fast on anything ever online, or for that matter offline. So, and the bottom line is this: I trust Brad. He's so worthy of trust. Seriously, this is just my own experience with him, and he's an amazing guy. He's not full of hype and overinflated income claims and all that kind of junk and nonsense you see online. Brad is just, you know, he's so anti all of that stuff. He's anti-hype. He's anti, you know, big promises and smoke and mirrors. Just the opposite. And because of that, I really just was drawn to Brad and continue to work with him. And I absolutely will continue to work with him in other programs down the road as well, because he's really earned trust. He's so trustworthy. He's excellent. The guy knows how to get results huge and knows how to share those results with his team. And he did that exactly for me, continues to do so. So I can't recommend you enough you join Brad. I guarantee it'll be one of the best things you ever do. Take care.
Hi, my name is Mark. I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Just want to take a moment to express my gratitude for Brad Weinman and to maybe help you along. What I strongly suggest is that you develop a working relationship with Brad, because this gentleman is the mentor of all mentors. Brad has a genuine interest in helping others become successful. If you show that you have the drive and you want to be successful, Brad will walk you through this every step of the way. Again, he has really changed my mindset. He's a wealth of information, and I strongly suggest that you form a relationship with him and get his ear, because this gentleman can change your lifestyle.
Hi, this is Valinda from Southern California. You know, I'm quite honored and privileged to be a part of Brad's life, and certainly honored to be associated with him in terms of business. Brad's very patient. His mentorship has provided me the assurance that I've been looking for. I value his mentorship, And I can always be assured that if I'm reaching a stumping point or a slump in my business, that I can always connect with Brad. He's right there for me, answers all of my questions, advises me accordingly, helps me relax about things I might be a little bit stressed about because I don't quite understand. But he's always there for me. And he seems to be the only one that I really have been able to tap into in terms of keeping a connection with and him being able to respond to me when I need help. He's always returning my phone calls. He's always involving me in some type of a directive path that has led me thus far to quite a bit of success. So I really do owe his mentorship to his experience in this industry, and I highly recommend that you work with Brad, follow his lead. He's been there, done that. He's an absolutely wonderful professional individual.
Hey, this is Toby from Temple, Texas. I met Brad Weinman by what I believe was basically divine intervention. Since our first meeting, Brad has been responsible for starting me on a path to just greater financial knowledge and security. He's not only shared with me some great success tips on how to get the most out of my internet marketing, but he's also been very honest, and he's just been friendly the whole way. Brad has never once told me that he did not have time for me or my questions. He's always encouraged me to go on to bigger and better things. And, I've sat with Brad, and I've talked with him about business and life issues. He's not only a gentle encourager in a lot of different internet-based modalities, but let me tell you, he's got a heart for people and about what they're going through personally. I just know one thing for sure. If you're going to do anything that attaches yourself to any internet business, I believe personally you need to be attached to Brad Weinman.
Hello, this is Dino Stelianopoulos in Miami. I've known Brad Weinman for over 3 years, and I've actually had the pleasure to meet him personally and his wife and work closely with him for about 18 months. I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt that after 15 years of having seen all kinds of home-based business ventures, Brad is one of the most stand-up guys I've ever known, and I'm honored to be his friend and business associate. What Brad does in his business dealings that makes him stand out way above everybody else, that he's got the best interest of his associates in mind. Hey, my results speak for themselves. Currently making over $5,000 per month, and I'm on a fast track to double that by the end of the year. His philosophy is very simple, and it's worked perfect for me as I travel quite a bit as a Boeing 747 airline pilot.
Okay, so now that you know you can count on me to be there to support you after you join, let's talk about some of the other advantages you're going to get by partnering with me. Whether you're brand new to the home business industry or you're a seasoned veteran, you're going to be able to leverage off the experience and resources I've developed over the last 16 plus years. I didn't have anybody helping me for the first years, and I had to figure things out for myself through a lot of frustrating trial and error that you won't have to go through. I also have a lot of experience in the financial industry, so if we end up working together, I'd be happy to show you how you can take your earned income from a business or a job and make it grow passively by at least 30 to 50% per year on complete autopilot. I've been doing this with my own retirement funds for years, and I can show you exactly how to really take your wealth building activities to the next level if you're interested. The bottom line is, there's no reason you have to suffer with the same kind of failure you've had in other systems out there. I don't care what your background is or level of skill or expertise is. This is something that you can succeed with. Like I said before, I'm no one special. I was a freelance artist before I found the internet. So if it can work for a laid-back guy like me, who knew absolutely nothing about internet marketing in the beginning, then I know it can work for you. But understand that I'm not interested in working with just anybody. I choose to only take on a limited number of people every month. And being that it takes an investment of both time and money to build a real business, if you're currently struggling to pay your bills and having a tough time keeping your head above water, then this business is just not for you. I don't mean to sound harsh, but I prefer to be 100% transparent and honest with you, and I'm not going to sugarcoat things and tell you what you want to hear like other marketers do to separate you from your money. That's just not who I am. So if you've maybe joined a few programs that haven't panned out for you, or you're still trying to find something real that's going to work, or if this whole make money online game turned out to be much more complicated and difficult than you expected, and you're stuck and overwhelmed, then what I want you to do is click on the red button below and take a tour of my system. It's really the best way to test drive the system and see how it'll work for you, just like it works for me and everyone else on my team. So with that being said, regardless of whether you decide to join this business or not, I really hope you got some value in what I've shared with you. And if you are interested in joining my business and having me as your coach and mentor, then go ahead and click on the button below, Lock arms with me and let's have some fun making money together. But you gotta be serious. That's the only stipulation. If you're serious, I'm serious. Click on the button below, take the tour, and let's get you started.